Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto anime review. This one's going to be for episode 100, which is called The Predestined Path. And I think this was a relatively weak episode of Boruto. It's very unfortunate that we get the weakest episode of this arc on the episode 100 mark. Obviously, there's only so much they can do to make episode 100 into something incredible, but it really stood out that this episode didn't have a lot to say. I get it's that kind of middle section of the arc where they're just about to reveal what's actually going on. But after the kind of cliffhanger for last week, I expected much more from this episode than to basically start off and get close to 13, 14 minutes into this episode with just, they're curing the birds again. Jugo's undergoing the transformation, where they're injecting him, they're concerned about him. And it just goes on and on and on, repeating it. And it's not really advancing anything because we know that these birds are getting infected and that Jugo's the only one who can cure them and that he's suffering for what he's doing. But that's all the first, 2/3 of the episode's more or less accomplished. And then I don't even feel this episode advanced too much on what exactly is going on with these researchers in the land of rivers. The only eventful things that happened here were that they revealed that, Team 15 did get attacked and they were defeated. It was revealed that the kind of green-haired kind of kids can actually do a full curse mark transformation. It seems like they are basically copies of Jugo, and potentially even from his clan. I think that would be a cool way to reveal what exactly the details of that clan are, but they seem to have basically the same ability more or less, but have kind of more control over it. So we'll have to wait and see what exactly is going on there. But we saw Wasabi and Nameda get defeated here, and then Nue helps Sumire to get to safety. And it sets up, of course, an interesting thing going forward that, Sumire is going to get a little bit of a kind of focus on her own, which I quite like. The preview for next week seems to be setting up that she's going to meet Suigetsu and Karin, which that's going to be very interesting. I think the next 6 episodes is called Jugo's Reinforcements, so getting across the connection between all of them. I'd like to see Sasuke at some point make an appearance in this arc and maybe reference the fact that he's always been the one to calm Jugo down. But if it has to be Karin and Suigetsu to accomplish that, I'm perfectly fine with it as well. But, that's all that was really accomplished here. The fight, I don't think there was too much to really say or anything like that. It was just, pretty basic. They go for their standard moves, they get defeated, getting across how powerful a full curse mark transformation is. And then Nue is the only kind of threat there because we know how powerful Nue can be and it's growing again. So that was relatively nice to see that it cares for Sumire and kind of actively disobeyed her, but to save her, which I thought was, pretty nice. And then on the other side of the episode, basically all that happens is that the injections for Jugo kind of go missing, obviously taken, as we pretty much learned that they were being spied upon by the researchers, and that causes Jugo to go on his rampage again into the city, and it's the researchers who are the ones to solve this time by kind of sedating Jugo, hitting him with tons of darts to knock him out. And basically it's just this moment that turns the village and everyone against kind of Boruto, that because you've been sympathizing with Jugo, you've been keeping that information from everyone that he's actually the one who turns into the monster, and it's this whole kind of miscommunication, betrayed trust thing. Again, I think it makes the villagers seem just really annoying, that they're just utterly unwilling to see that Jugo's been the one trying to cause this, to prevent this issue from spreading, and they just won't listen to reason here because they just see the monster. Look, I get they maybe should have been a bit more open about this, but very clearly it's the bad guys in the situation manipulating things to get the advantage in all of this. I still don't really know, and I don't think the arc has made it particularly clear what exactly is going on just yet. Clearly it is about curse mark research, and that here's people who have this sort of newer curse mark. They have Jugo now to experiment on it, and the fact that the animals are getting the curse mark obviously suggests some level of their testing it out on animals, and Jugo is the main kind of test bed that will expand their research going forward. What exactly they're going to do to fully connect it all together, I don't really know, and I think that's the frustrating part of this arc, in that I don't really know what it's about. Because if you've asked me to say what was the first half of this arc about, it's like Jugo curing some birds of a curse mark. I don't know what the actual plot is just yet. And as much as I like Jugo, of course, and I like that he's getting a focus here, it has been very repetitive of just like, he transforms, he cares about nature. When he, cures these animals of the curse mark, he begins to become overly affected, and rinse and repeat. I get that a lot of the first section of this episode was to get across how, I suppose, sympathetic the team is towards Jugo, understanding that he is actually a nice guy deep down, and that they do want to help him if they can, and so that's why they're going to want to fight against these researchers to get Jugo back. But I don't feel the episode progressed the plot enough, and there's still, I think, 3 more episodes left. I think they can do a lot in those 3 episodes to get us somewhere, but this wasn't particularly great. And so I'm pretty much going to leave it there, because I don't want to just repeat over the same kind of stuff over and over again, but just make it clear that I don't think this was like a terrible episode, but 2/3 of it being more or less repetition of like, okay, this is stuff that we already know, we're going over it again. And then the last third, bit more interesting, but they still are being a bit too precious about the information here, where I think they pretty much need to get to the point of, here's what's happening, and the second half of this arc is going to kind of get us to that point. Because there have been some frustrating things in this arc, Konohamaru being taken out in the last episode, and it doesn't look like he's maybe going to get back in action anytime soon. Hopefully they resolve that by the end of the arc. But they're my thoughts on episode 100 of Boruto. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.